Hi there, welcome to our channel. I'm Dr. Alyssa Easley from West Pelvic Wellness, where we take a holistic approach to pelvic floor rehab. On this channel, we are going to be sharing tips, exercises, and strategies to help you feel your best. So don't forget to subscribe and follow along for all of our content, and check us out on all our other social media platforms. C-section recovery is something that is overlooked and even misunderstood when it comes to pelvic floor rehab. Let's discuss 5 common myths and what recovery actually looks like for your core and pelvic floor and scar after cesarean. So, the most common myth I hear is that you do not need pelvic floor PT or pelvic floor rehab after your cesarean. And that is just absolutely not true. Just because you didn't birth your baby vaginally, that doesn't mean that your core and pelvic floor are automatically going to be fine. The C-section incision line is typically right at the top of the pelvic bone. And what people don't think about is the fact that that incision goes through the 3 layers of abdominal muscles and is actually very close to the pelvic floor muscles themselves. At our practice, we actually see moms after C-section for the exact same symptoms that we see moms after vaginal birth for. And that could be bladder leaks, bladder urgency, pain, either pain at the scar or pain in the core muscles or the pelvic floor muscles themselves, which might lead to painful intercourse after baby. We also see things like back pain, we see hip pain, and just a sense of disconnection from the deep core itself. So all of those things lead us to the fact that moms who have given birth by C-section absolutely need pelvic PT after baby. Another myth I hear is that if your scar looks fine, you're fully healed and good to go. So even if a scar looks okay from the outside, it can actually cause restriction underneath the skin. Remember, the C-section incision crosses 7 layers of tissue. So that is 7 layers worth of tissue that could be getting pulled by the scar internally. What this can do is cause an imbalance in the muscles and the fascia, which could lead to pain. It could lead to bladder or bowel issues. It could even contribute to back and hip pain. It's important to not just look at the scar. We need to touch it and feel for any restriction deeper past that skin layer. We also need to see how the body is moving and possibly compensating in movement patterns from the scar restriction. So a holistic pelvic PT can absolutely help guide you with this. The myth that you're cleared at 6 weeks postpartum and that you should be good to go on all levels of life, fitness, motherhood is absolutely a myth as well. 6 weeks is just the beginning of the healing process for not only your scar, but for your postpartum body. So we can't neglect rehab, working on pelvic floor coordination and mobility, deep core activation with your breathing, and then functional strength as well. Another myth that I want every mom watching this video to know is that it is never too late to start working on your C-section rehab. Yes, there is absolutely benefit to starting rehab within that new postpartum period, but if it's been years since your C-section, you can still make a difference, not just on your scar, but in how your body feels and how your core works and how you're holding yourself with your posture. All right, right, our last postpartum myth for C-section recovery is that all you need is time and that you will feel healed after time. And I want to say yes, time and rest are definitely important in the postpartum healing and recovery phase, but just time is not usually going to make a difference if you're having symptoms of problems like bladder issues, pain with intercourse, pain in the hips or at the scar or at your back. So being intentional about using gentle movement, breath work, and even getting mental emotional support are going to be huge in your postpartum recovery as well. I want to acknowledge as well, not every cesarean birth feels traumatic to moms, but in the cases where you feel a lot of trauma from the events of your birth, working through that with a professional can be super helpful for your healing as well. If you're feeling stuck in your C-section recovery and you feel like you're doing all the right things as far as scar massage, exercise, doing pelvic floor therapy, don't neglect that mental, emotional side of you too. So to wrap up, C-section recovery is real. It takes time and intention, whether you're newly postpartum or you gave birth years ago. It is worth the effort. You are worth the effort to work on these things.